uh, the egg ritual, and let's do a quick analysis of what actually happened on Halloween night. It's not very important, but it's always a good idea to run a kind of a review of what happened, because ultimately we're dealing with a scientific process, and it's important to note the effects it had. Now, the what you will notice is the moment it happened, you instantly felt better. As soon as you saw heard that plop or that pong or that boop of the egg hitting the water, you immediately will feel better. You'll feel relieved. Now, what's happening then is at that moment is your nervous system and your psychic energy from all the lockdown and from all the negative news in the media and the restrictions put in your life has compressed your psychic energy into like cleansed, a tight, tense fist. Okay. Now, when the egg was dropped in the water, that suddenly exploded out like this, and your nervous system hyperactivated, and you were suddenly flushed with electrical energy emanating from your heart and your spine. And this is where that rush came from. It was an instant release of all this negative pent up energy which had been in there. Now, the effect of this is that your nervous system is now expanding way beyond your body normally does. And so you might find out things like you were really horny when it happened. That's perfectly natural. You were giddy and like hyper and that kind of thing. You wanted to go out dancing or something like that. Other things, if you have appliances that were on the brink, you might find that as soon as you switched them on, they broke. That's quite common. It's not because you broke them; they were already going. They were near going, and you just finished them off, and things like that. You might find you have a high level of electrical charge if you go to touch your kids, or even like a spark off them or something like that, and that's a beautiful thing. It's magic. I don't play magic. This is not the Wiccan Stevie Nicks bullshit that you've taught was magic by sharing a Stevie Nicks meme with a pointy witch's hat saying, I can do magic. I'm a magic person. This is the real thing. You've walked into the real thing. You wanted to do magic. You wanted to learn magic. Well done. Here we are. And that's it. You've done it. This is proof that it works. Magic works. The timing of the ritual was done deliberately on Halloween rather than Samhain to make sure we didn't cross over or offend any ancient religious or spiritual elements that take place on the proper autumnal equinox, which is on the 5th or 6th, I think, and which is the real Samhain. And Halloween was a night of release, and it was a night of release, and that was what the point of the ritual was, to release all this pent up energy that had constricted us from the lockdown. And it all came out at once, and that's why you felt electric and ecstatic. It's not spooky. It's science. It was a psychological thing. It was the art and science. The art was the creation of the egg with your whatever you wanted to write on it. The performance of the art, the ritual, was the tossing of the egg into the water. When the egg hit the water, it was the culmination of the artistic process, and then science kicks in. You suddenly felt an instant relief, and your brain releases all kinds of pleasure receptors, things like endorphins, and your nervous system is pulsating. And because you have been released from a state of bondage that has been imposed upon you by the dark elements of the last few months, it has pushed you and crushed you down. And this is real magic. This is the real thing. This is how it works, And some people might be surprised at how well it works. Well, welcome to the real fucking thing. The ritual was a beautiful thing. There was nobody named in it, and it was deliberately done to help people who have been damaged fought by the empire of false pestilence, which locked them down. It was a motivation was purely and utterly love. That's all it was. There was no names of anybody named, and there was no governments or organizations named. The Empire of False Pestilence was an avatar created in order to symbolize the energies which we had to release from our bodies. There you go. So, but if you did something stupid like, made a second egg to have a go at your ex-husband, well, tough shit. Many years I've been telling you not to curse and hex people. Why do you think all these Wiccans are all miserable and in bits? It's because they do stupid things like that. But if you just went there with love for the people that have been locked down, with love for your own family and yourself and wanting to be free, you took part in something very, very beautiful, and you learned real magic. Real magic. This is why Crowley said love is the law. Love under will. You got a real taste of that with the event, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's gorgeous, and now magic is real. And there's already been results. I can see them in the real world, and this will only multiply as this process develops, both in an osmosis way and also in a chemical way, as these eggs make their way towards the sea, and then the will and the product of our artistic calling will come to fruition. And be grateful you're a part of it, because it was wonderful. And you're going to you've already seen the results in yourself as an individual by how it made you feel. Now you watch the bigger picture, and we watch that unfold. And we didn't, so in other things like Enochian magic, you call upon spirits or whatever to do it. We tapped into the archetypal power of the gods or goddesses inherent in the rivers. So that's why I said pick rivers that have symbols, strong psychic energy or history poured into them, because you're that's what you're doing. You're sacrificing an egg into the water goddess, or the ancient forces that were inherent in that river for thousands of years, going back to whatever ancestors worshipped them, and that went up to the Christians who may have worshipped them, and the power of the flowing water, and the energy of the veneration and power put into that, like if you threw it into the Thames River, you have the energy of the ancient Celts and the Romans, Londinium, named after the god Lu initially. If you threw it into the Liffey in Dublin, you have the Anna Livia Purabella. If you threw it into the Billabong, you have the Aboriginal Australian energies. If you throw them into the Hudson, you have the Native American, but also the souls of America, the people who came to America from foreign shores seeking freedom, and so on. And that's why I said, it's great if you can find a river that's very simple. It doesn't have to be, but that just adds to the charge, because in water, what do we know about water? It stores energy, and it stores memory, and it stores the memories of all the prayers and all the hopes that have been put into it. And it flows. It is affluent. It flows as affluere, and it creates a charge. And it takes that initial intention placed in there, and like an investment, as it rolls towards the ocean and it goes to the sea, it performs this element of growth, and it transforms into something else. And this is even things like this in the Bible, bread on the water. Why did John the Baptist baptize Jesus in the Galilee River? I mean, this is ancient, beautiful, powerful stuff. And yeah, you did it. This was first for you to relieve all the tension out of your body and out of all the pain that was been brought into you by the lockdown. And secondly, it's about healing the others who didn't take part in this. And that's why we created, that's why I came up with the idea of an avatar of an entity that doesn't exist, that has been conceptualized as the false pestilence empire, and the ritual named no individual and caused no harm to anyone. It was a ritual born of love. Thank you.